All right, so last we left off this engine, we knocked the bearings out of the crankcase here, which is our main goal, and we didn't break anything along the way, so that's good. So we are now ready to move on to cleaning parts, and the first thing I did was remove the O-rings from this back plate slash fuel distributor, and there were O-rings in these cylinder heads, which I removed from all of them, as you can see. So, and I put them in their respective cartons, so we're good to go there. I really don't like rubber O-rings in my cleaning solution. Then my method for cleaning a lot of these parts is I will put them in this Harbor Freight ultrasonic cleaner. These are really handy if you do a lot of these. So, and I really recommend this type of machine for doing engine rebuilds like this. And then my cleaning solution is this Formula 88 degreezer. I will leave a link in my description to where you can get this stuff. And I find this stuff works really good and doesn't discolor the crankcase or all these, aluminum silver parts like other cleaners sometimes can. But anyway, that's what I use to clean engines. I also will use a brush on some parts, that just don't have a whole lot of carbon on them. It's easy enough just to brush them off by hand, so not a big deal there. But anyway, we will go ahead and start the cleaning process. Okay, so as you can see, I've got you on the overhead again, and we're going to go ahead and load this up. So I dilute my solution with about half water and half cleaning solution. So this is pretty warm water that I have here that I like to pour in. And we'll go ahead and there's a minimum and max line I kind of follow on this thing, but we'll go ahead and pour all this in here, and I just quite not have enough, but I have another container of this stuff, so we'll go fetch it real fast. All right, so I got the rest of my cleaning solution here. That it's in a spray bottle, but all right. So as you can see, these are the kind of the parts I've chosen to go in there, and I want to do kind of like a nice before and after of how well this ultrasonic and cleaning solution works. But here with the crankcase, we can see we got quite a bit of considerable carbon buildup on the front there, and we got some in the back. So go ahead and throw this in right just like that. Crankshaft with the connecting rod, it's got a little bit of carbon on it, not too much, but this should clean up all nicely, so we'll go ahead and throw it in there. I think this is going to clean up quite the most, or look the best considerably. Here's the connecting rod section. See, we got some carbon buildup right there on the center. That should clean up nicely. We got the prop drive that's got a little carbon there. I don't know, this piece is actually pretty clean, but there's a little bit, so we'll go ahead and throw it in there. And then we have the fuel distributor part, which just mainly has that castor oil buildup right there. But other than that, this thing's pretty clean. So anyway, I will go ahead and throw these in here, and I didn't plug it in, I guess, so I guess I have to do that. With my head out of the way, hopefully. Okay. So I'm going to set this on the max preset time. It says 180 right there, but we will set it to 480. We'll also hit the temperature control. It's got kind of like a built-in heater deal, and it keeps the warm water hot. But we will go ahead and hit the on button, and we will let that do its thing, and we will check back on these parts later. All right, so while those parts are getting cleaned, I'm going to demonstrate how I remove the valves out of the cylinder head here. It's a pretty simple task, but anyway, these valves are held in with a little C-clip right there. If you see that, it's kind of a black cylinder head, so it's going to be kind of tough, but there's a little C-clip that holds the valve spring on the valve. But anyway, my method for doing this is I'll take a paper towel rag, something that can get dirty or whatever, and just shove it in the cylinder like this. And then to make sure the valves can't be depressed, I stick whatever I can fit in there just as a stop to keep it from, keep the valves from depressing. But anyway, then I take this, well, I got a 1/4 inch wrench. It's honestly a little bit too big, but it works. That's what I had in here. But anyway, take this end of the wrench and then a set of magnets and depress the spring to get the C-clip out. So let's see if we can do this. Oh, time. 7 minutes since I've done it, but we'll see what happens. No, come on. Get the name on it. Oh, it's about, I got it on the rope, so. There we go. So as you can see, here's the little C-clip that holds them in place. Really tiny little guy. And then the valve spring can just come right up, and then you can push the valve out theoretically, but we'll go ahead and do this side while I'm here. Okay, that's the way it's oriented. Alright, and there we go. So, pretty simple process, not hard at all. But before I remove this, let's take a look here. Okay, this is the exhaust on cylinder number 1. So, we will go ahead and put those in the bin there. And then this is the intake, so nice stuff. Anyway, then you can go ahead and pull the paper towel out. It kind of cleans the cylinder walls as well when you're taking it out, so that's kind of another reason why I use it. But other than that, they should just pop right out. I use a magnet sometimes too to get them out. But this is the intake valve, which, I mean, these things are very clean, honestly. They don't need much of a clean at all, but I like to get my valves nice and shiny. But anyway, there is the intake valve right there. And then the exhaust, which, I mean, same story. I mean, there's a little bit of carbon buildup on it, but man, it is not bad at all. So, all right, so I've got my clean parts here. This is about 5 cycles on these parts here, so let's take them out and see what they look like. Oh yeah, it's been going to town, that's for sure. Here's the back plate part. You can see there's no more carbon there, and this here you see just wipes off with a rag, so very, very nice. Let's take a look at the crankcase. Oh yeah, looky there. This is much better. Here's an after shot. Let's get on the inside portion here with the flashlight. Oh yeah, look at that, so much better. So very neat. So there's the crankcase. Let's take a look at the conrods now. See how they turned out. Oh yeah, look at there. Caramel color is not really present there anymore. There's a little bit of carbon here on the here, but overall not too bad at all. All right, so as you saw, we finished cleaning the parts, the crankcase, the crankshaft, and just as a demonstration of how clean these parts can get. But here I just want to get a before and after shot of parts. These are for cylinder number 2. Now these are all the exhaust parts here, and you know what, I might as well, here's the push rod. But anyway, here we have the exhaust rocker arm right here. You see, get a good shot of that. We'll get a good before and after. Here's what I am really excited. I'm excited to see how this valve turns out. And you see the black there on the carbon there. We'll see how well the valve cleans up. And then we go have all the other parts that they're probably not going to look too much different. The piston, though, however, probably will. We'll see how much of this caramel color we can get off. So that'll be interesting to see. So just before and after shots, and then we will go ahead and see what the finished result is. Okay, so here are the parts that came out of that ultrasonic bath. As you can see, the piston has no longer that caramel color. It looks really clean, nice and metallic or silver looking, and it looks really nice. So, and this was only after 3 cycles, so they clean up pretty easily. Here's the rocker arm, and you know, it didn't clean it off completely. I mean, this stuff here is just discoloration, but I mean, it did help quite a bit and improve the appearance. And then last but not least, we do have the exhaust valve, which I was testing this on, and it looks much, much nicer, especially on the top there, or whatever this part of the valve is, I guess. I can't really remember the name right now, but looks really shiny. As you can see, there's no more carbon on it, so it looks really nice. Now this valve, the valve stem here is a little black, but that's just discoloration, you know. That's some, if I can get to focus. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, you see that black on the lower part of the valve stem. That's just carbon discoloration. Now, the one thing I do like to do with these valves is they're made out of that super hard steel, just like the crankshaft was, so I will chuck them in a drill really lightly and then take some Scotch-Brite pad and I will go over the valve seat. As you see, it looks really nice and shiny on that valve seat right there because I've already done this, but I'll just make sure that all the carbon is off of that valve seat part and you don't have to do very much at all. But like I said, just to make sure this valve seat seats really good in the cylinder head and seals really good, I do take my Scotch-Brite over there. So the only other thing I want to mention is I am not actually putting the cylinder heads in the ultrasonic bath, and the biggest reason is because this black coating here is actually paint, as far as I was told, and there have been reports of sticking these things in there that the black paint does come off or flake off. So trying to preserve the looks of this as best as I can. So I am actually going to just hand brush these for now until I can think of a better method. But to be honest with you, this method is working fine. It's cleaning off all the carbon deposits just beautifully. And I mean, you can get a really good looking. It may take a little longer and a little bit more effort, but I just don't want to risk flicking off the black paint. All right, so this engine is all cleaned up and it is ready to be assembled.